Hello, loves. Good day, good day, good day, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to the Master Your Mindset 5-Day Challenge. So, hopefully, we don't have the same issues we had yesterday with the connection and getting disconnected from the live stream. So, if you were with us yesterday, you know that I got disconnected twice from the live stream, saying that my signal was weak. So hopefully we don't get disconnected today. But if we do get disconnected today, the same thing that happened yesterday is going to happen today. I'm going to come back to you with a part two so that you can get the information that you need so that you can have guaranteed success. Let me try and sit this down. I may have to get up and move during the live stream if I feel necessary so that I don't lose the connection. I think we're good right there. So hello, my loves. I'm Candace Gray, a passion and success coach, and I help aspiring entrepreneurs discover their passions and find their freedom to escape the 9 to 5 and live their dreams in their own passion-based business. So welcome to the Master Your Mindset 5-Day Challenge. And the reason I'm doing this is because mindset is one of the biggest things that we've got to explore and we've got to get past if we want to be successful in business. So a couple of things, if you haven't already signed up for the 5-Day Challenge, it is not too late. You can still sign up. There is a link provided to you in the description box. You can sign up there, and that way you'll have access to the additional resources that are provided, such as the worksheets that will accompany the video. And if you are not following my live streams, click the button in the top right hand corner that says follow so that you will not miss out on information. And what it will do is it will a notification will come up when I'm going live, so you'll be able to see it. So we're in day three. We're plugging along. And, I'm running the same journey as you guys. We're talking about mindset shifts. We've talked about fear and ways to overcome fear. And we've talked about confidence. Today, we are talking about self-sabotage and persistence. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. I know I say it every single day. I don't anticipate this being a long video. I'm going to say it again. I don't anticipate this being a long video. We're just going to plug through a couple of things today, but make sure that you sign up so that you can receive the worksheets, because your worksheets will be a little more in depth and allow you to kind of work through the situations on your own in your own time. So let's talk about self-sabotage, something that so many of us do. Everybody at some point or another has done something that was considered self-sabotage. So in essence, self-sabotage is an unconscious thought or behavior that is in direct conflict with our desire to succeed. So listen, have you ever said that you wanted to do something, or you wanted something, but your actions didn't really line up with what you said you wanted? This right here will be a prime example of you are your own worst enemy. I know you've heard that before. You are. Sometimes we're our own worst enemy. We say we want to do something, but our actions are contrary to what we say we want. For instance, if you're a smoker and you smoke cigarettes and you're like, okay, I'm really trying to stop cigarettes. I'm in a new place in my life and I want to give this up. I got the patch and I'm going a couple of days without smoking, but you plan for Friday night to go to the hookah lounge with your homegirls. Okay, as much as you want to stop smoking, and it's not that you don't want to succeed, it's not that you don't want to stop smoking, it's not that you don't want to try. Sometimes our behaviors they're unconscious. You've planned an outing to go to a hookah lounge where you're reinforcing the behavior. So we've got to be aware of our behaviors and we've got to be aware of our thoughts if we want to have forward movement. You first got to be aware of how you're self-sabotaging. So, for instance, I struggle with my own self-sabotage in the moment. A lot of times I've got to kind of check myself. I want to lose weight and this is my year. I'm going to lose weight because I want to have kids. All right, yes, great. It's not that I don't want to lose weight, but Why you got that tres leches cake, Candace? Why you over there smashing? Because it's good? No, 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 no. It's a daily thing. Sometimes we've got to check ourselves in the moment, recognize what we're doing or what we're thinking in the moment does not line up with what we say we want. And like I said, it's not that you don't want it. It's not that you don't want to succeed. But these unconscious thoughts and behaviors tend to creep up on us over time. So let's talk about a couple of the unconscious behaviors that really tend to hang us up in forward movement and really taking action to get where we want to be. Anticipating failure. I hear about this and I see this so much, where you're anticipating the failure. You know, maybe you've been in situations where you've tried something that you really wanted to do, but you didn't have favorable results, or you felt like you failed, or you ended up discouraged at the end, or maybe you're surrounded by negative people. You could be afraid to try something new because of the risk that you would fail. It's a risk. So in essence, what you're doing is you're setting yourself up for failure. Out the gate, you've already said, no, I can't do this. You haven't even tried yet. Don't discount yourself before you even have the opportunity. So one of the things to do when you want to check yourself with these thoughts and these behaviors when it comes to anticipating failure is, you probably already do this anyway, but first you want to consider, what's the worst that will happen? Write it down. Get your situation together, kind of like we practiced yesterday when we talked about fear setting. Write down your situation. And then I want you to think about, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst case scenario? Remember, a lot of times we're playing the worst case scenario in our head anyway. So go ahead and write it down. But then I want you to flip the script. And I want you to write down, what's the best that can happen? What's the best case scenario? What is the best thing that can happen? We harp so much on the negative, but we fail to even consider the positive. We fail to consider that it may actually work. So what's the worst that can happen? And what's the best that can happen? And truthfully, you've got to learn from your mistakes. No one is perfect. No one is perfect. We all make mistakes. We all mess up. And it's okay, because it's a learning process. And at the end of the day, people respond more to truth and vulnerability than they do perfection. Truth and vulnerability than they do perfection. A lot of times this error, this image of perfection can actually turn people away from you. Number one, because they're going to feel like they can't relate. They can't relate to you because you're too perfect. You wouldn't understand what I've been through. You wouldn't understand what people have said to me. You wouldn't understand me. So I'm not going to deal with you because you're too perfect. Or it may be that you're so perfect that they're so extremely intimidated by you. They're like, I'm not even going to mess with you. You got everything together. I'm good. Have a nice day. So it's not about perfection, honey. None of us are perfect. We're all learning. We're all going through a process. We all have struggles. We all have thoughts in our heads that tell us we can't do it. But you've got to recognize these thoughts in the moment. In the moment you hear it, the moment you hear, you're not going to be able to do that. It's going to be too hard for you. It's going to be a struggle. Fight that thought in the moment. Tell yourself the total opposite of what you're hearing. In the moment, fight that thought. It's kind of the concept that we call thought stopping. When these negative thoughts start coming up for us in our head, sometimes they flood in. All these thoughts, and they flood in. Thought stopping. Stop the thought in its tracks. I don't care where you are. I don't care who's around you. If you have to take a moment, go be by yourself and get yourself together. Do that. Because if you don't, it's going to continue to flood. And then after a while, you're going to believe everything that's happening, everything that's being talked about in your mind. They're lies. Stop the thought. And then counteract that with the total opposite. So what's the worst that can happen? What's the best that can happen? And when you write down what's the best that can happen, believe it. Even if you don't really believe it, choose to believe it. I believe it's possible. I believe I can do that. So not only is anticipating failure one of the major self-sabotaging behaviors, but another one that hangs so many of us up is our bad habits. Honey, bad habits, unhealthy behaviors like excessive smoking, drinking, overeating, uncontrolled anger. A lot of these can really cause you to stick with what's familiar. This is how you get down. This is just how I get down. This is just what I do. So you tell yourself that you can't change these behaviors because this is who you are. Why try? I tried before. It's hard. I'm good. It ain't nothing really a big deal about it. And you feed yourself excuses and reasons not to change. And the reality is it's not that you don't want to change. It's not that you don't want to be successful and you don't want to get past these hangups. We want, everything in us wants to get past it. But there's something on the inside of us, once again, that's telling us that we can't. So we've got to recognize where these behaviors are stemming from. And one of the things to do is really invest in the tools and the resources that are going to build you up. That's key. A lot of our habits cost money. It costs money. Number one, if we were to completely eliminate some of these habits that cost money, think about how much money you would save and what you could do with those funds. Now, I realize that things are a process. If you are an excessive drinker or smoker or overeater, things are a process. Things don't change overnight. So you've got to attack it every single day. So let's just say one of your habits, you're spending 40 to 50 a week, just to kind of maintain this habit. So you could come up with a plan that says, over the next couple of weeks, maybe the first week, what I'll do is instead of spending $50 on my cigarettes, maybe I'll take about a third of that and apply it towards a book that's going to help me succeed or excel in a specific area. So the first week you took a third of your money and you put it on something that you can invest in that's going to grow yourself. In the second week, take another third. Maybe after 2 weeks, you want to go to 2/3. So it's a process. So you don't feel like you're going cold turkey, because a lot of times when we go cold turkey, we fail. That's not always the truth. But going cold turkey in itself can set you up for failure. So come up with a plan. Come up with a plan to invest in yourself more than participating in self-destructive behaviors, because that's in essence what it is. And like I said, it's not that you don't want to. You've got to figure out where these behaviors are coming from, where they're stemming from, and you've got to take action to fight them every single day. So if you're anticipating failure, if out the gate you're already feeling like I'm not going to be able to do this, consider what's the worst that can happen, but then consider what's the best that can happen. And understand that you're not perfect, and sometimes this illusion of perfection can do more harm than good. Be yourself, be true to who you are. If you make a mistake, own up to it. But if you succeed, bask in that accomplishment. So let's really take some time this week to recognize what our self-sabotaging behaviors are. Do you want to quit your bad habits, whatever they are? There's a gamut of habits. If it's something that you're feeling like is no longer serving a purpose in your life and you're over it, start implementing steps every single day to do something that will eliminate this habit out of your life. I'm not going to recommend you go cold turkey. Don't do that. Little by little, come up with a plan where you can take some time off of this habit or some money off of this habit and then put it over here into the pot that's going to build you up and help you succeed and help you grow. So one of the things when we're dealing with self-sabotaging behaviors and we tend to give up straight out of the gate is because we don't know why we're doing it. We don't, and I say this a lot because it's so important. It's so important for you to understand why, your why. We talked about that yesterday with motivation. You've got to understand your why. And when we're talking about persistence, self-sabotage and persistence is what we're talking about today. When we're talking about persistence, your persistence is strongly tied to your motivation. You've got to figure out your why, and you've got to sell yourself from your why. You've got to be sold on your why, because your why is going to be tested every single day. And if your why is not strong enough, you're going to give up. You're going to give up because you're going to be like, this isn't even worth it. Like, I'm good. I'm cool. I don't even want to do this anymore. It's stupid. That's not where you want to be. So make sure that it's something that you truly want to do. Make sure it's something that you truly want to invest in before you make the effort to keep pushing through. Because if it's something that you don't even want to do, then why start? Don't even start. Figure out what you want to do. Find your passions. Find your inspiration, or find what makes you angry. Whatever it is, you figure out that why. So there's a whole bunch of reasons why people don't persist and why they give up. And we're just going to talk about 2 of them today, but you've really got to understand, why do I not want to continue this? It was several years ago, I had started doing makeup. I used to do the eyeshadow, and I thought I was cute, and I was practicing, and I was like, you know what, I'm pretty good at this. This is awesome. I could be a freelance makeup artist. So I'm like, boom, let's do it. I went and got me some cards made. I'm like, let me start, a business on the side. I started practicing my makeup, and it's crazy because as much as I loved to do my own makeup, and I thought I was fly, honey, y'all, you couldn't tell me nothing. My cousin Carl, he used to always say, like, you in that one eye. Like, I would have, take a picture of my one eye with my eyeshadow. I thought I was bomb, right? So for me, that translated into, I should start a business doing makeup. All right, cool. So I started doing makeup, and I started practicing on people because I really wanted to get good at it. I bought books. I started watching YouTube videos, tutorials. 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm painting my face. And I'm like, let's do it. I'm ready. But the moment I started doing other people's makeup, I was like, all right. And I stopped. I just stopped. I just didn't even do it anymore. And I didn't even realize it until months later. That wasn't my dream. That's not what I really wanted to do. As much as I like doing my own makeup, I didn't want to do other people's makeup. I didn't find it fulfilling to be all up in somebody else's face and in their eyeballs, and I was scared. I was like, I don't even want to do this. My why wasn't strong enough. It's one thing to want to do something leisurely, but to really, really invest in it, you've got to have a strong enough why. My why wasn't strong enough, so I stopped. So one of the things that hangs people up, and the reason they don't persist and they don't keep it pushing, is effort and time. A lot of times whatever we're doing, we feel like it's taking too much time. And we've become so accustomed to immediate gratification and immediate results, instant results. I want something right now. Boom. I'm starting a workout regimen today. I better be skinny by Friday. Well, honey, I don't know what kind of workout program you in and where you're going to be skinny by Friday. If you find one, let me know. For real, though. But it's just like anything we really want to do in life, you've got to build a solid foundation, and you've got to build from the ground up. Whether it's your relationships, whether it's a business, you've got to have a solid foundation. And I know that's what you want. I know you really want to build on a solid foundation. When you're thinking about building a house, you start with the foundation first. And then you start building up, and then you fill in the walls, and then you have the plumbing. It's a process. Once you have the structure built, then now you have to fill in the insides, and you have to furnish the home. Your home is not going to be built in 24 hours. Sometimes your business isn't going to be built in 24 hours. Your relationship isn't going to be built in 24 hours. You've got to put in the work every single day. And we've got to become a master of delayed gratification. We've got to invest in where we are now so that we can be where we want to be. Don't give up. Make sure your why is strong enough so that you can build that solid foundation. So remember, they're not failed attempts, and it's not that your time is wasted. You've got to really think of it like training sessions. or you're building your muscles. These are training sessions and these are practice rounds, and you're building your muscles. You know, if you want to be a bodybuilder and you start training, you're not going to have, you're not going to be in a week. To get to where you want to be, you've got to put in the work, and you've got to put in the time. And it's not always going to happen overnight. So sometimes, we talk about having high expectations, but we've got to be reasonable. We've got to be reasonable. You want to build a business, it's not going to happen overnight. There's a process that you've got to learn. You're going to learn a lot of things. Same with relationships. There's a lot of things that you've got to learn. There's a lot of habits that we've got to change. We've got to get rid of these self-sabotaging behaviors so that we can't continue to persist. We've got to really be sold on our why so we can't continue to persist. So in addition to struggling with, the effort and time, it's taking too much time or it's taking too much effort for me to do what I want to do, a lot of us don't keep going because of politeness. We don't want to be a nuisance. We don't want to annoy people. I don't want to be, in their news feed all day, promote my business. Well, sometimes the reality of it is that in order to be successful, you're going to annoy a couple of people. When I first started, this is something that I actually struggle with, is on fire as I was about my business, and I was ready to make stuff happen, and I was ready to move forward, and I felt like I had everything in place. I'm like, all right, I'm telling people about my business, right? On Monday, I'm saying something. Tuesday, I'm like, maybe I'll wait till Wednesday. So maybe Wednesday. So it was kind of sporadic because I didn't want to flood people's news feeds. I didn't want people to look at me and be like, dang, why she keep posting all this stuff about her business? I don't want to annoy people. And I had to come to the point where it's like, you know what? If I don't promote my business or use marketing strategies and advertising, then no one's going to know I exist. If people don't know I exist, then I'm not going to make any money. I'm not going to have any income. If I don't have any income, I'm not going to be able to take care of my household. So in essence, I can't take care of my household because you're annoyed. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to get over that. And we've got to learn that other people's annoyance, that's neither here nor there. Don't worry about how other people feel about your products, about your services, whatever it is that you're trying to promote, whatever your message is. You've got to understand that your message is not for everyone. And that's okay. Because the people who need you will find you. The people who resonate with your message will be there with you. And if they don't, that's okay. That's okay. Like I said, that's neither here nor there. When you think about the holidays, what do you think about? Who do you see everywhere, every day during the holidays? Macys. And it's a whole bunch of other people too, but Macys. I'm like, oh my God, if I see one more Macys commercial. Like Macys is everywhere. The Macys Day Parade. I mean, we're inundated with that. But as a business, as a successful business, if Macys was not bombarding us with their advertising message, we'd forget about them. And they would not bring in the revenue that they need to keep their business running. So as a business owner, you've got to get your message out there, and you can't be worried about annoying people or becoming a nuisance because you're allowing someone else's feelings to dictate how far you go. We've got to change the way we think. We've got to use smart business tactics, and sometimes we've got to release the feelings of other people. I'm sorry that you're annoyed if you continuously see me post about the 5-day challenge. It's not much I can do about that. But I have a household that I've got to support, and I've got a business that I want to run, and I cannot allow your feelings to dictate my success. So we've got to understand our message isn't for everyone, and that people will find you, people will come to you, but make sure your why is strong enough. Every day, remind yourself of why you're doing it. And if you've got to have some type of a visual that you look at or mantras that you write, do it every single day to remind you why you're doing it. You're building this solid foundation in your business and your relationships. You're building a solid foundation. You're not going to get a house in 24 hours. Get your foundation together, get your walls up, get your plumbing in, get all the accessories, get everything in the house. And it's going to take time. So, guys, this week, start recognizing and thinking about these self-sabotaging behaviors. Start thinking about your habits. What are some of the things that you participate on a regular basis that are self-destructive and they're not helping you grow and succeed? And then continuously figure out what your why is and make sure it's strong enough and remind yourself every day why you're doing it and why you need to persist. Don't worry about the time and the effort because it's going to come. It's going to come, but you've got to build it first. You want a big old mansion, you got to build it. You got to start with a slab of concrete. It's not going to be pretty in the beginning. As you get the beams up in the house, it's not going to be pretty. Even when you have an open structure and it's just standing there, it's not pretty yet. But the further along you get the walls in and you get the plumbing in, and now you're bringing in the furniture and the washer and the dryer, and you got the couches and you're putting pictures up on the wall, it turns into a beautifully crafted project. And at the end, you have a beautiful house that you can now live in. This is your home. This is what you've built. But it takes time to build it. So don't give up. Don't give up. Recognize what's stopping you. And then keep pushing. Keep it going. You got this. You can do this. We're in day 3. Let me know how you guys are doing. Are you practicing the worksheets and the exercises and really kind of getting inside your mind and figure out what's stopping you and what's holding you up? Are you implementing the strategies to fight these negative thoughts and the self-critic on the inside of you every single day? It's a daily process. Every day I'm reminding myself of who I am and where I want to be, and that there will be a new normal for me. I remember being at Staples one day. I was putting on a workshop and I had to make copies for everyone that was going to attend. And I'm at Staples like, okay, I got to make all these copies for people. And I don't know if you've been to Staples and you're making copies, you put, your credit card in and it starts to do all the copies. So I'm sitting there, literally, because I had a whole bunch of them. So I'll pull up a chair and the copies is going. And as I'm looking at the screen, the number for how much it's going to cost is racking up. And I'm tripping out like, you got to be kidding me. I was like past $150. And I'm literally flipping out internally. And I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, I'm like up to $200 for some paper. And in my mind, I had to catch myself. Because I almost stopped the machine like, you ain't got a paper, I'm sorry. And I had to catch myself like, Candace, $200? Listen, as a business owner, there's going to be a return on investment. So I'm literally in my head like ROI, return on investment. And this is dude next to me. He's looking at me like, I don't care. But I had to retrain my mind in the moment. There will be a return on your investment. There's going to be something at the end of this tunnel. There is a light at the end of your tunnel. And that light is going to become your new normal. But you've got to put in the time and the energy and the effort to start now and to try now and to don't give up before you start. I'm telling you guys, you got this. You got it. Just make sure you put effort into it every single day. All right? That's it for today. We're done for today. If you haven't signed up, sign up so that you can get access to the additional resources and you can have the worksheet so that you can work through these concepts that I'm teaching in your own time. All right? I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 4. Master Your Mindset 5-day challenge. I got a surprise for y'all in a couple days too. All right, I'll see you guys later, my love. Take care.